here we are. We are back. This is a great day. We're going to have a good time. We are talking about one of our favorite records, Cinderella, Long Cold Winter. I saw this tour. It was fantastic. It was incredible. Jimmy, did you see this tour as well?
I did not see this tour. I had never seen Cinderella till, well, you know what? I take that back. You might have been at the same show I was. I saw them with Rat and Great White, actually, at Charlotte. But I don't know if it was this tour or not. I don't remember.
No. The tour I saw was Winger opened. Actually, it was Bullet Boys was the first opener, then Winger, and then Cinderella. Okay. And man, I remember one of my favorite parts of the show was, well, first of all, I mean, everything was just freaking amazing about it. I mean, you look at that package, just the tour package alone, and you've got Bullet Boys, which were so hot at the time. They had Smooth Up In Ya and For the Love of Money were huge songs for them.
Yes.
And then you had Winger, which again, I mean, they had gigantic hits at that time. And then again, you've got the headliner, Cinderella. This is their second record, Long Cold Winter. And I remember when they started playing Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone, and Tom Keifer came down from the rafters on the piano. Like it started playing the piano. You heard the piano first, and then all of a sudden the lights went on, and he was coming down from the rafters playing this song on this, the piano was like all like glitter and mirror and all that kind of stuff. So all the lights were just popping right off of it. Man, it looked so cool.
That's cool.
But man, what a fantastic show. And really, this band was a little bit different in that era. I mean, they were definitely a hair metal band, but they had that kind of blues angle to what they did.
That's right.
Which made them a little bit different.
You remember the first when I remember I was in college when Shake Me came out. Yeah. Off Knife Songs. I can still remember this. You were probably still in diapers, but
I was in elementary school, to be honest with you, man. Yeah, I was because I remember a friend of mine goes like this. He goes, "Hey, do you know like I write songs?" We were on the school bus, and I was like, "Oh, really? You do?" Because he knew I liked music, and I was probably, I don't know what I was, 4th, 5th grade, something like that. And he goes, "Yeah," and he starts singing the lyrics to "Shake Me."
No, he did
say that he wrote it, and I was sitting here going, dude, come on, I know Cinderella.
That's right.
Nobody's full off of that song, off that record. Night Songs was so enormous. And that so like,
when Night Songs came out, I remember I was at college and I was playing ping pong. I played ping pong all the time, and they had TV in the student center, and that video came on. And I remember when that video came on and they were spinning the guitars around their back. You remember that? And I thought that is the freaking coolest thing ever. And I did that one time, busted myself in the face. but I remember that. But I loved them. And you're right. You mentioned they were definitely a hair band. When they came out, man, they were very much dumped into that hair band thing. But that Night Songs is a great record.
Yeah, man. It was really good. It was really good. Yeah. But today we're talking about their second album, Long Cold Winter. Man, Long Cold Winter sold 3 million copies in the U.S. Like it's certified triple platinum by the RIAA. RIAA measures sales based off of shipments. So, it's not really sell through, for example. Sure. It's more of like what sells into a store. So a lot of times back in the day, you could ship gold is what they would call it, right? So 500,000 units is gold. And so because that's all everyone purchased were full albums. So it was like the CD or the cassette or the vinyl, and they would literally ship 500,000 units to retail so that people could be ready to buy it on street date. And so those records were technically gold on day one, right?
Wow.
Things like that. So this one, I don't know what it shipped day one, but I imagine it was pretty massive because Night Songs, their first record, which we just mentioned a minute ago, it also sold 3 million copies. So they had just come off of a massive debut album, and then their second record, they follow up with Long Cold Winter, another smash hit that sold another 3 million copies. So it's, I mean, as a songwriter and a singer from your past and mine as well as a musician, it's like to sell 3 million records once is a dream, but to do it back to back is just insane.
Yeah, for us to sell 3 records was I'm just kidding. You know what I like about this record, Steve?
What's that?
The cover. I just love the cover, and I know you've got it in your hand just like I have it in my hand. But the cool thing about it is it reminds me of, and it's not a copy by no stretch of the imagination, but one of my favorite covers ever was White Lion's Pride. Because it was just that lion, face on the front and white. And this cover with just white, the logo, and then just on the bottom, and the Long Cold Winter. I just love. And of course, on the back up, it's got a picture of the band in snow or whatever. But yeah, this record to me is it's one of my favorites, rock records.
And, it's a classic.
We're talking about. You asked me earlier had I ever seen that tour. I'll tell you what I did see. Jump forward to 1990. 1994. There we go. Okay. That was a time when, remember what was big back then, like Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff was kind of big, and college kids were really into that kind of stuff. And personally, never a fan of that, but whatever. Well, I was in Panama City Beach. And there's a club down there called Spinnakers. Yeah. And MTV used to broadcast there when they had their spring break. Well, I happened to be there during college spring break. Don't ask me why I was there for college spring break. I definitely wasn't there for them. But it just so happened that Cinderella was playing a show at Spinnakers one night during college spring break in 1994. So I took myself by myself and went. And they had a stage set up beside the pool, and oh my gosh, man! I think I might have been one of the only Cinderella fans in there, and it wasn't packed. There wasn't a whole lot of people there, but they played everything off night songs and this record we're talking about, and it was just interesting. Where a few years back they were just massive, like you saw them on that tour. Now they're playing at Spinnakers, but they were still just as great, and Keifer's voice was just unbelievable. But we're talking about that record. But
Tom still tours to this day.
Yes, and Tom Keifer band.
I haven't seen him as a solo artist. I've only seen Cinderella the one time on this tour, Long Cold Winter tour in Charlotte. And this record came out in late May of 1988. So I probably saw them. I assume their tour probably started somewhere around March, April, May, 88, and probably ran through for a couple of years. So I saw them somewhere in that, 88, 89 time frame. I don't remember the exact time. I'm sure I could look it up. It was at the Charlotte Coliseum. But man, it was insane. And I've heard today, I've had some friends that have seen Tom not too long ago play some shows, and they're like, dude, he still sounds incredible. Yes. And he's a great Instagram follow. You just follow him on Instagram, and you look at him. He looks great. He looks healthy. He looks young. He just about looks the same. It's almost like Slash with Guns N' Roses. If you didn't look at a picture of Slash in '87 and you just saw him now, you'd be like, dude, guy looks great, man. Like,
you're right.
You're right. He looks, it's so ridiculous.
The one thing, a mutual friend of ours saw Tom Keifer somewhere in Greensboro or something about a year and a half ago, and I remember he text me while the show was going on. He said, man, you ought to be here. This is one of the most amazing shows. And he was talking about the same thing, how his voice has not lost anything. And, he went through, there was a time when Tom Keifer had some major voice problems. I don't know if you remember that. And I think the thing was, is he even going to be able to do it again? And good gosh, he came back and did it just as well.
Well, if you listen to these records, especially Long Cold Winter, you'll hear he has two voices. He has that really gritty, strained kind of like rock, voice. And then he has a really clear voice as well, like on Coming Home. So it's interesting if you contrast the two and go, let's listen to Gypsy Road or Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone. And then let's listen to Coming Home, where he sings in more of a clear kind of a different type of voice. So I would imagine the other voice is the one that probably helped damage his vocal cords at the time. That real long, that high pitch he does. One of the things I like about this record too is I think it separates. I think one of the things that separates from other bands like that we talk about and that we like in this thing is, I think what I like about him is that blues oriented. We were talking about before we went on the air, so to speak. We were talking about the blues oriented, and
my favorite song, and we were talking about this today, my favorite song is the title track, Long Cold Winter. It's just so cool. But you know what it reminds me of? I mean, it doesn't remind me of like, oh, they're just like them. But one thing I like about Great White is they have that bluesy,
right?
You know, and they're kind of reminds you of some of their blues-oriented music. And Tesla has some of that in some of their stuff. And I kind of just like that bluesy stuff, kind of a Stevie Ray Vaughan influenced type of thing, you know?
You know what's funny? I love that song too, and I posted on my personal Instagram last September, and I posted a picture of the album cover, and I talked about how, you know, Jeff Lebar, who's the lead guitar player for Cinderella, I was like, Jeff Lebar totally killed it, and I tagged him in the post, you know, totally killed the guitar on Long Cold Winter. It sounds amazing. And Tom Keifer's vocals are incredible. Well, lo and behold, Jeff Lebar replies to that post and he goes, that's all Keifer. He's like, that's the only song that I never played a note on. And I was like, first of all, holy crap, Jeff Lebar replied to my post. Like, I'm a nobody. But I was so like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, this is incredible. But I did a little. That's awesome. I knew Jeff lived in Nashville, where I live, and I kind of did a little bit of like checking up, like what is he up to now? Dude is a chef at a restaurant here in town.
No kidding. Is it his own restaurant or is it?
No. It's not his own. I think he's kind of like on the front end of like really making a career, you know, a second career of being a chef. And I think it's so cool, man. I love that. And really, you know, when you look at culinary arts, right? It is an art. Absolutely, and the fact that he's a musician and was a very, very successful musician, you know, to move from a creative field like music to a creative field like culinary art, I think is really cool. And it's kind of fitting.
I agree. I totally agree with that, man. I maybe next time I'm out, we'll go figure out where he's working and we'll go grab some food. And you know.
I know where it is. So we'll go. Okay. We'll go, man. We'll go when he's when you come back to town. So, but yeah, that song's pretty amazing. But
one of the things we talked about last time when we were talking about the records of our choice last time, you know, the fact that how these records and these songs are in orders of, you know, particular, and this record again flows. I mean, you know, it starts off with that bluesy, bad seamstress blues, you know, the just kind of acoustic and that slide guitar going on, and it just kicks in, man. But then it goes in, then they just drop everything, and go into, you know, the next song, which just it takes your head off, you know.
Well, I mean, let's run down side one.
Let's do.
So Bad Seamstress Blues, which again is kind of a cool little almost like an intro to the record. I wouldn't really consider that like a full song.
I wouldn't either.
And then it just kills, you know, it kills. It's so good. And then it kicks right into Falling Apart at the Seams.
Yes.
Which is massive. But think about it. Bad Seamstress Blues and then Falling Apart at the Seams, right? They
kind of go together, doesn't it?
Totally go together. And then Gypsy Road is track 3 on side 1, and then the mega hit of theirs, which is Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone, was track 4. Man. Then The Last Mile, and then Second Wind.
Yes.
So on this one, on side 1, man, Gypsy Road, Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone, and The Last Mile, all 3 were big singles, big videos on MTV as well.
That's right. Great album.
Very stellar side 1. And then you move on to side 2, which you have our favorite song on the record, the title track, Long Cold Winter, opens side 2. And then If You Don't Like It, which I think is another really great song. And then Coming Home.
Which is a great song. I love that.
Yeah, which was a single. And then Fire and Ice and Take Me Back.
Yeah, man.
You know,
I mean,
really cool.
Yeah, you could... this is an enjoyable record, man, just to sit around and play. And it's a great record, man. Great band. And the thing about it is they're one of those bands that, you know, I like to go on YouTube and I looked on the Monsters of Rock cruise videos that you can watch, and, you know, and they were on that cruise. Oh my gosh, man. It's just, it's just amazing how good these bands are. Live.
Well, they were one of the highlights for me at least, on the Moscow Peace Festival.
Oh yeah.
And when they played, they sounded so great. You know, Fred Corey, I love him on drums. I think he's fantastic. I don't think he played drums on this record,
Really?
I heard, and I know even in the liner notes, Cozy Powell is listed as playing drums, or at least there was 2 drummers on the record that I know of, and I don't think Fred played much. I feel like Heartbreak Station was the first album that he actually played on.
No kidding.
Yeah, but again, you know, and I'm
right.
a drummer, and
it's a different,
being a studio player, a
That's
drummer
right.
studio player is very, very different than being a live drummer, and so
very much so.
Very, very different.
Absolutely.
And so I don't disrespect him at all.
No, me either.
Fred's a great drummer, and so
he is.
I thought he was fantastic live too.
Oh yeah, good showman and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, this was a great pick for us to go from top to bottom and listen to it, everybody, from top to bottom. If you have it and you love it, you know exactly what we're talking about. If you've never given Cinderella Long Cold Winter a chance, man, have a seat, throw the headphones on or put it in your car or whatever, and just enjoy yourselves, because it is just a great record, man.
Or drop the needle, man. Drop the needle. They've got a 180 gram reissue remastered of this record, and it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with Steve. I would rather you drop the needle than hit the laser.
Yeah, that's right.
or stream it or whatever.
Yeah,
drop the needle, man.
Yeah, either way, man. This is a fantastic record, and I will point out one last thing before we go.
Yeah, man.
Again, another connection to my favorite record, which is Appetite for Destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Barbiero was one of the mixers on Long Cold Winter for the record, which was co-produced by Andy Johns, Tom Keifer, and Eric Brittingham, which, you know, Tom obviously was a singer. Eric was the bass player. So I think that's really cool that the band had some say in the production value of the record too. But yeah, man, there you go, dude. That was our segment. That was our show. I feel good, man. This was so fun. I
like doing these top to bottoms, man.
Yeah. We'll be doing a lot more
about records.
Yeah, man. We'll be doing a lot more of these in the future. We have a couple more coming up that we're really excited about. We think that you guys will love as well. And hit us up on Instagram or Facebook at The Sort of Cool Show. And we will see you next time.
See you next time.